So I got the first 4 episodes of Dear X, and I have to say that I am speechless. I am actually like speechless in that I think that I have never, in my years of watching Korean drama, seen a female lead like this. Like a female lead that is allowed to be dark and evil and terrible, and you still kind of relate to her, or you still kind of like are rooting for her. And I think I have found such a character, right? Like Becca Jane, watching this first few episodes of Dear X, has made such a compelling case for why she is the way she is. Like the story has made such a good explanation, right? We've gotten a good backstory into why she's the way she is, and I am just like enamored with this drama currently. For those who don't know, I covered this drama, Dear X, 2 weeks ago, where I talk about what my expectations were for this drama, because like I saw the synopsis and it looked interesting. Like I like a dark drama, right? And more when it's a female protagonist, right? Because that's actually rare. A lot of dark dramas usually are crime, and they're usually like male lead or male protagonist or ensemble cast, like kind of dramas, right? So think OCN kind of dramas, right? Those dramas, detective dramas, are usually like male protagonist kind of centered. So to see a drama like this where the character is so obviously twisted and it's a female lead, I was just like, I am going to check this out, right? So I'm going to go through a few things that has, been kind of just a shock and just exciting for me watching these first 4 episodes of Dear X. For those who don't know, Dear X basically follows Becca Jane, who is this girl that grows up in domestic violence, right? She has had to manipulate and basically read people and use people to kind of get ahead, right? And we are kind of watching her as she kind of navigates the world using this her cunning and using this her manipulative nature, right? Like she's someone you can classify as a sociopath, and the drama does classify her as that. Now around Becca Jean are a few men that she uses to advantage, right? Men that kind of fall in love with her looks, fall in love with her mind, or just men she manipulates that she uses to further herself and further her goals, right? And so one of them is Yunjun So, who is a quote unquote step brother, but not really, and other men in her life, right? So they play a kind of role in this story as well. Now, watching the first few episodes, right, I have to say that I think it's really good how this show is able to like convince you, right? Or at least I was convinced of why Becca Jean is the way she is right from the very beginning, right? You kind of see how she's gone through life very different from everybody else, right? She deals with an abusive alcoholic mom, right, growing up, and you see her in that first episode as a child where she is kind of dealing with this, right? And it's very funny because as I was watching that child actress, and I have to say that child actress is amazing. I've seen her in a few other things and she's just very good at portraying a good range of emotions. But yeah, seeing her as a child and seeing how she reacts to the fact that she's even getting beat by her mom, right? It's very interesting because I think that I was more like shocked by how kind of nonchalant she was about it. Like she was getting beat by her mom, getting abused by her mom, right? Her mom is a alcoholic that drinks and hits her. And when her dad finally comes, she tells her dad, can't you do something about this woman that always hits me? Right? And it's very interesting because like she's patching up herself, like putting band-aids on and everything. But the way she says it, it's almost like she's so used to it, she's so numb to it that it's not even that big of a deal to her that she's getting abused by her mom, right? And so, obviously the dad has his own plans and, throws his wife down the stairs to kill her, right? And it's very interesting as you see kind of how the dynamic in that family plays out, right? The dad obviously hates the mom because she is holding him back, not getting a divorce so that he can go and marry a rich woman. And so he hates her in that sense. Whereas Becca Jean hates her mom because her mom is abusive. Whereas Becca Jean also hates her dad, right? Because her dad is obviously just a terrible person. Like when we kind of realize more and see how he has basically planned for her to be like taken advantage of, in like, I think it's CP, right? Like he was planning CP with that woman, right? Like he's obviously like from the pits of hell, right? So everybody in that family has a different dynamic. But in a moment, right, when Becca Jean's dad throws the mom down the stairs, right? In that moment, the two of them agreed on one thing, that Becca Jean's mom had to go, right? Like she was a baggage for both of them. And it's very interesting how they were similar in that moment, right? And so from the very beginning, you can see that Becca Jean has been a child that had just a kind of unfeeling, uncaring view of the world, right? Of people even, right? And that was the moment where I was like, oh, this is going to be good, right? Like you see it from the very beginning, right? And so yeah, it's very interesting to see that even as a kid, she had developed that right from the start, right? Having gone through all that, right? And it's interesting because so far, like the drama has not really shown us a moment where she has like vulnerability, other than like when she's like being beat by her dad, right? You can tell that's the moment she feels weak, and she feels that like, she can't do anything about that, right? And so until she's able, I think, to get rid of her dad, right, that's when she feels okay. Now she is like finally free of everything, any weakness that holds her back. Her dad in her life, right, is that sense, just like her mom, of being like a baggage. And I think that's why she also planned it how she did, to have him killed, right? And it's very interesting too, in that sense that she recognizes that, and she's able to use one of the men in her lives that comes into her life for this purpose. I think the part that, makes it for me in terms of that, like, okay, I was actually finally convinced that this person is irredeemable. Like, this is somewhere that is going to be terrible from the beginning to the end, is when she uses that good man, that her boss in her life, to take out her father, right? Because she sees that obviously the system is not going to keep him forever, right? Like, he gets out every few years and he's back again. She tries to plan her life and try to do right, right? She's always trying to do right. She doesn't really come for you if you don't come for her. Think of like her classmate, for example. It's not until her classmate starts bullying her and getting on her nerves that she retaliates, right? Generally, she's actually kind of just fine existing, but people in her life keep trying to like humble her and take advantage of her and abuse her, and so she has to react the way she does, right? And so that's why she resorts into doing what she does, because she knows that her boss is a good man, and he's the kind of person that will try and help her. And so she creates this whole elaborate plan to use him. And I have to say, that scene where she bashes her dad's head in, and she walks into the rain and she's all covered in blood, I think that was a moment where I felt chills in my body, because I was like, this is amazing. Like, this is what I want to see. I would say that even when I watch like Miss Ripley and a few other dramas that had like femme fatale female leads, they were not like this. I think this is the first time I'm seeing like a female lead that is genuinely like a sociopath, and it's amazing to see, because I know like there's not going to be a romance in this, because there cannot be, because our character is incapable of feeling that for someone, because that is a weakness and she does not allow weaknesses, right? And I love it so much. Another aspect I like in this drama is how she's able to use men to her advantage, because she is so beautiful, because she is gorgeous, has a smart mind and everything, right? Men are drawn to her, and we've only seen like a few, and I've heard that according to like the novel or whatever, like there are more men that come into her life, right? But so far, just watching how she uses all the men in her life, right, like it's just amazing, because in this house we support women's rights and wrongs, right? Not that I support what she did to her boss, obviously not. That was an actual good guy, but still, it's just interesting to see how she uses these different men to her advantage, because they see her as this like helpless person, right? The first one being Junso, right? He's like, I would say, the first man in her life that she's able to manipulate, and he's also the one that I guess is going to be the first to like realize that she is pretending and she's manipulating, right? The second one being her boss, but that's after he gets framed and has to go to jail, right? And so I know that all this is going to come back to haunt her, and that's why it's kind of interesting to me that she chose to become like an actress, because actresses, from what I know, just like watching like Korean actresses and how they navigate, they do not like, people do not like actresses. Like, the misogyny in the industry is terrible, right? So I don't know why she chose this, but I can understand how, like, she's trying to be independent, she's trying to get ahead and everything. But it's funny, because I think she would have made a great lawyer, for example, if she had been able to go to law school. It's a shame that her dad did not allow that to happen, because she would have been a good lawyer. Might have committed a few crimes, broke a few laws, and might have lost her license in the end, but I think she would have actually been a great lawyer, But anyways, that's beside the point. I just think that the way she's using men so far has been amazing, right? She's manipulating them in different ways. One of the male lead that I would say I like the most is the classmate of hers, Kim Jae-ho, because I think he's the only one that is kind of understanding of who she is, right? He understands, I think, to an extent, what kind of person she is, and not necessarily like now, but I think that he has that capacity to understand how she is and the way she is, right? I feel like Junso is going to try and change her, and all the other men just don't know her well enough. But I think Kim Jae is that, like, he's kind of like her lackey, right? He's the one that like does all that dirty work, and so I think that he's the one that I like the most in terms of that. Like, I think he understands her the most, and he's okay with getting his hands dirty. So I do like him the most of all the men, even though, yeah, like, she is manipulating him, but I think that to an extent he's willing to be manipulated because he loves her regardless. And that's like a match made in heaven, right? When two toxic people get together and can be toxic together, that is what I like to see. I feel like Yunjuso is fake in that, like, he's trying to be like a good person, or he is a good person, where like he's trying to also change her because of that. And I'm like, she's not someone you can change. And let's just be honest, right? Like, this is, you two are just different people, right? But he does love her, right? It's just that I think he sees her in a different light, and he's not just being honest with himself. Like, if he was, he will see that he can't really change her. She's who she is, right? So yeah, I just like how, she's, able to have these different kinds of men in her life and use them to her advantage. I am very curious about how this will end because, like, I just don't know how she's going to get away with all this. And I wish she would, like, other than maybe the boss, because that's the first time she's actually done something terrible. Like, I just want her to get away with things just for once. I want somebody that's terrible to be terrible to the end and not ever have remorse. Like, even if she gets caught and everything, I hope she never has remorse. I hope she remains just like the worst person ever, and like people just keep giving her chances because she's pretty, and pretty privilege is a thing, right? That's just my hope, that like she somehow comes out of this on top still, right? But I know that most likely she's not. But yeah, it's just fascinating to me, this drama. I think that there's something really sad about Becca Jin just as a person, having gone through all this. And I think that moment really struck me when I see that young version of her listening to her dad and his like second wife talking about how they're gonna like shoot a video of her, right, and make money off that. And it's just like saddening to see that and react to that. And how she's had to like train herself and become that unfeeling person, that person that uses people, because her life has not been fair, honestly. And it's sad because I don't think even she like fully understands just how bad it is, because like it's just been like this since forever, right? And so when she finally like does her dad in, I was actually really, really like happy. Like, it felt cathartic, like, oddly enough. Like, I was feeling that like same feeling of like freeness when she's in the rain, as she was, because like it just felt that finally she has that, like, it's like just like a fly or something that's like around you and you finally get rid of it, right? That's kind of what it felt to me, that finally she can kind of move on and not have that thing that's always going to be in our way. Because I don't see, right, just like as she said, I don't see how they could have like gotten rid of her dad, that he would never come see her again, right? And so she did what she felt was best, right? And it's a shame that she had to use her boss, because I wish that she had chosen some other way, because I know this is gonna come back and haunt her, right? But yeah, oh my god, that's so amazing. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen other dramas like this. I don't think I have. That's why I am so like taken with this. I just love it so much. I love when I see characters be evil, and like it makes sense that they're evil, right? Even though you obviously can't support them, you still get it, and you're like, yes, I am watching this train wreck, and I will see this train wreck till the very end when it crashes, right? So I love it so much, and it's been amazing. So yeah, I love it. I love it. If you guys know any dramas like this, please recommend. Like, I need more dramas like this where the female protagonist is just a terrible person for the sake of being terrible, or because she has trauma or whatever. Like, I want more like female protagonist dramas that has no romance, right? Like even in this drama, like she has moments with like Junso where like they're touchy feet and you're not sure what their relationship is, right? But like we know kind of as we watch her that like this girl does not really have romantic feelings for anybody, right? She just uses people and that's okay, right? So like if you guys know any dramas like this where it's a female protagonist, she is evil and there's no romance, right? Not really, right? I would love recommendations, please, right? Yeah, I think that's really my review of this drama so far. The first 4 episodes, chef's kiss, so good, so good, so good. And honestly, this is making like my top 10 for the year, I think. Anyways, yeah, that's all I have for this episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your week, and I'll talk to you guys again next week. Have a lovely one. Bye.